In 15 minutes it'll be live. You
Yeah,
can go ahead and start
so I'll
talking.
start talking.
You
right
can.
now.
Oh, so you're the one talking about it. Oh, man. Not me this.
Eric, I actually need you for 30 seconds.
Okay, give me just a second.
Rich.
Button will be on key.
You want to explain the rules when everybody gets here?
I will.
No, because I kind of already been here. So.
Exactly. Whenever you get here, I'll explain the rules.
Not that I'm trying to be cocky or anything.
You're a great professional. You're an old boy.
I've been here before. No, I just got lucky. Hopefully I'm here on the big one.
Play perfect every hand.
The only thing is, like my friends are watching. Why did you do that? It's either gonna be that or how do you make that? Man, you're crazy. That's usually what they tell me. Man, you're crazy.
Who are we missing? We're missing Steven Caesar.
So we are about to rejoin the action in event number 8, the $400 double black chick bounty.
Steven and Santiago.
I had the pleasure of playing in this tournament today. Only fired one bullet, made it through late reg, but fell short. Could just never really put a stack together. Was fortunate enough to pull out one bounty, though. Unfortunately, it was from my roommate for the week, Alex, optional. But we are going to rejoin the action with 6 players left. The average stack's going to be about 150K. As we take a look at the blinds, they're going to be at 2,500 5K with a 5K big blind ante. One interesting thing this tournament is we are adding the big blind ante. Prior to the flop, the big blind ante will not be calculated in pot size. Post flop, it will. Definitely a factor to consider, something our players are fully understanding of now at this point in the tournament. Interesting new addition that was added. I believe it started at Aria in Vegas. I don't know who was still there when it was implemented. It could have been one of Houston's own at this point, but one of the new additions to Houston, I don't know. But I think it's something that most experienced players are happy with. Just makes things smoother and easier. Hands play faster. We're all accustomed to it in Hold'em tournaments. So we're gonna pull up the chip counts for you real quick. Like I said, we have 6 left. Keith is going to come in with the chip lead at 202K. Amir 185. Santiago 172. Caesar 161. Steven 102. And Loy is going to come in the rear with 16 big blinds at 84.5. Again, we are 6-handed as we take a look at the payouts. I believe 4 are getting paid. First is going to take home $1,800, second $1,215, third $855, and fourth $630. One thing to remember when looking at these payouts is half of the prize pool was immediately allocated for the $200 bounty that each player receives when eliminating another player. So less than half of the actual buy-in dollar amount going to the prize pool. The real money throughout this tournament has been made in that double black chick bounty. So make sure to consider that as we talk about payouts throughout. And the action gets started.
On your square, all at the same time. Everybody. I didn't get any of them. But that's okay.
We're going to have a little transition here as the players get comfortable with the feature table.
At the same time, like it's completely in the square.
Sort of like that. Or more like that.
You can stack them.
9 rings to 10,000.
So far, we have no cards showing up, so we'll get used to that.
2 folds. 10,500. 3 folds.
Yeah, hold on 1 second here.
5 folds.
I got no cards.
Yep.
Just FYI, no cards.
I'm gonna check something.
So we're going to be a little delayed in cards as players become acclimated with the final table. And again, keep in mind, even as players get eliminated, every single elimination is going to bring each player a $200 bounty reward.
5 bet 10,000. 9 calls.
Already messages coming in. When's it going live? When's it going live? We are on a 15-minute delay just to avoid, any collusion of any sort.
4 spades.
Obviously, the transparency of the game is of utmost importance and our first priority in everything we do here at the feature table. We are super happy to be here at the Lone Star Series at Champions Social Club. Champions has just been the most fantastic host a series could ask for, from the management to the staff to the floors to the dealers to the bartenders. Everyone involved here as Champions has just been exceptional. As a player myself, a commentator, working with both the Lone Star staff and the feature table, it's just been a joy. But we do find ourselves here at the PLO final table. We are down to 6 players. We'll take a quick look at the chip counts here. Again, 42, 40, 34, 27, 19, 16 big blinds. A lot of play at hand here, still at the 2,500 5K level.
We'll try it again.
I'm already receiving questions on the cell phone as to why I'm not at this final table. As a PLO specialist myself, It just, the cards were not in my favor. There were two very different tables to start this tournament today. One was extremely aggressive, and one was very, very passive. So I happen to be on the aggressive table, which is where you want to be to win the tournament and to collect bounties. Just couldn't pick up cards, and when I did, couldn't connect with flops. Unfortunately, that just doesn't lead to the PLO success. At second break, I believe we had 14 eliminations on our table, and there were 2 eliminations on the other table. After that break, there was a third table added as end of regulation came. Just a fun tournament. That's what these PLO bounties are designed to do. Both PLO bounties, PLO re-entries, they're designed to be more of a fun atmosphere, you know, for us all to just kind of kick back, maybe pour some drinks, have some fun. But at the same time, we usually find some of the same suspects at these final tables. I've seen Amir in action this week in some other tournaments. Very solid player. Not surprised to see Loy at this final table. Not familiar with Santiago, but was informed as Caesar was on my table during early action that he is just a local PLO crusher. Steven, not so familiar with, or Keith. I believe I've played with Steven some today. I could tell he definitely knew his way around a PLO hand. So not real surprised there either. Should be a fun final table to navigate here. Super happy to be in the booth and thankful as everyone else finds themselves out at the bars tonight. We're kind of at that midway point here in the series where a lot of people have just been through the ringer, a lot of bullets fired. Luckily for myself, we find ourselves up slightly in the tournament series so far, as we found a third place in one of these smaller events. But whether you're finding us on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook, we're happy to have you guys here joining in. Here after the tournament gets going, I'll be following the chat on Facebook. So if you want to jump over to the feature table on Facebook, that's where I'll be following the chat. I'll be about 15 minutes delayed. Hopefully we can get some cards popping up here and get you guys going. So Santiago, Queen 4, 3, 4. We got 3 spades in the hand. Jack, 8, 6. Keith, Jack 9, 3, deuce. Ace 5, 5, deuce. 9, 9, 6, 6. Steven with 2 pairs in the hole. Caesar looking at ace 5, 5, deuce with a suited ace. It's going to be pretty interesting to get familiar with how these players play. Mir is going to raise to 11K with Jack, 8, 6. He does have diamonds with his hangers. Caesar's going to make the call with ace 5, 5, deuce. As these players do act, as Loy makes the call as well, please keep in mind, as the prize pool is not substantial, the substantial amount of pay is in the bounties. We may see some calls that aren't quite lining up with traditional final table PLO play. First is 1800, second 1215, 855, and 630. So if you were to knock out the final 3 players, you're already going to gain an additional equivalent to third place money. So keep that in mind as we see maybe some subpar calls, maybe some different lines. A flop of ace 4, 9. Caesar does flop the nut flush draw, which does come home on the turn. Loy with nothing but ace 4, drawing pretty slim as Caesar has a blocker as well. We'll see if Caesar's definitely going to bet with Loy's check in front. We'll see if Loy decides to continue He does not. Caesar's going to take down the pot. I've been just personally pretty impressed with Caesar's PLO play today. He seems to know when to mix it up, when not to, what players to really, get involved with, what players not to. It's been a joy to watch. You don't see that a lot. Right now he's kind of in the middle of the pack with 168. He's fourth in chips out of the final 6, but right there. And PLO, as we all know, anything can happen. It doesn't take much to go from last to first in this one. So Pat Lemon Omaha, as Joey Ingram refers to as the great game. One thing that the Lone Star Poker Series has been amazing at is just implementing many tournaments with mixed games, whether it be PLO or Deuce to 7 or the triple draw or the 8 game or the Big O. The schedule is jam-packed with mixed games, and I really, really love that Lone Star's made a commitment to their mixed game players and the mixed game players around the Lone Star state that, they've just showed they're going to have them daily. If you come down, if you're not a fan of No Limit, you're always going to have something to play. We've got a 8-7-6 double suited from Caesar. Appears to be quite possibly the best hand. Also Ace Queen Jack 3 double suited. Man, if I saw a double suited hand all day, I might have been in the middle, but
Eight's on to less, 9 folds. Three folds.
so we don't know what Loy's cards are here, but I would have a hard time seeing Caesar fold Ace 8-7-6 double suited. That was after Santiago's 3-bet to 55K. I would assume Caesar's going to flat here, which he does. I wouldn't have been ultra surprised with a 4-bet jam, but I think the 3-bet flat is a very, very respectable play here. So Loy, it looks like Ace King 5-3 double suited. So he's going to have the hearts covered. Caesar's going to have the diamonds covered. Pretty interesting spot both ways. If the flop comes out red, we're going to see some action.
3 players, 1 all in.
Santiago also with hearts. So if a heart flop would have come out, it would have been fireworks. Santiago flops 3 jacks with the ace, multiple draws there. We do have 2 diamonds. So Loy's going to find the all-in with low diamonds, no jack. Caesar's all-in with nut diamonds, which come home at the same time Santiago bringing home the full house, which is going to, unfortunately, eliminate both Caesar and Loy. Huge hand for Santiago. Santiago is going to move up to 425,000 in chip. In play, which is huge in PLO. Just an unfortunate run out with a queen on the turn. Santiago obviously already in the lead, but there were so many outs that would have brought it home for Caesar as well. A king for Loy, but it looks like Santiago is going to eliminate both players if the chip counts are correct. Looks like Caesar is already, and Loy have already been eliminated from our chip count list. We are going to be down to 4th. So as we look at the payouts, Santiago with just a massive hand there. Also $400 for eliminating both those players. So Loy is going to take home nothing. That actually creates our bubble as well. Even more importantly, the final 4 players are now going to be in the money. Again, first 1,800, second 1,215, third 855, and fourth 630. So we had a double bubble for those that are familiar. 2 eliminated with 4 remaining in the field. The 4 we remain with, Keith will be in the 2 seat with 201.5, Steven with 87, Santiago with 424.5, and Amir with 189. Still anybody's game in PLO. This is
Yes.
obviously a game where chip stacks easily move from one to another. Thank you to everyone joining on Facebook, which is where I pay attention to. Nick Davis, an amazing floor out of Iowa. Brady Jacoby, thanks for hanging out. My wife is in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us for the final table of the $400 double black chip bounty PLO. Looks like Amir's going to have King, Queen, 7, 3, 2 hearts. Keith's going to wake up with Queen, Queen, 9, 4. Almost a Badoogie, but definitely rainbow. Santiago, Jack, 10, 9, 5. I like Santiago's lead here. He's going to raise to 15K. Keith's obviously going to come along. He's going to make the call, and we're going to take a look at a flop. Rob's now got the video pulled up from the bar, I think. Sometimes we wish we could be where we aren't, but we're glad we're here, folks. Cheers to that. So Keith is going to flop 2 pair. He's going to lead out the betting first to act and take down the pot. Bet fold is the sequence there. 4 players remained. As we've discussed, 1800, 1215, 855. And 4th is 630. And more importantly, as each player is eliminated, they do receive $200 in a black chip bounty, double black chip bounty. So more than half of the prize pool paid to the players has been paid out in black chip bounties. Definitely something to consider when you look at your strategy. There are people in this tournament, I know of one who, for sure, that has made far more than 4th place money. I believe he had 6 KOs for 1,200.
Good job, guys.
Wow, Keith's looking down at Queen, Jack, 10, 9. A hand I love. Even more importantly, double suited. Steven looking at Ace, King, 9, 7 with nut diamonds. Amir's going to hold the highest hearts as well with 2 connectors. This should be a fun flop. Also a flop where, I mean, Keith and Amir sharing some holdings. Steven's got the higher end and the lower end. But I think we're going to hit one hand harder than the others. But it does come Queen, 2, 2. Keith's going to have top pair. Jack kicker. Amir's going to have a little better kicker. I don't know how much Keith is going to be willing to call here. Amir definitely leads. From what we've seen from Amir this week, very solid player. He is going to lead out 9K. We are going to get the call from Keith, though. Definitely a flat. Ace, King, 9, 7, 2 diamond, backdoor nut diamonds there. Does elect a fold, which isn't surprising. Keith's going to lead. He's going to check to Amir. Amir still with the strongest hand. Keith did tag along with that spade draw as well. He does hit the spades on the river, so Keith is going to have the strongest hand. With that hand, he is going to lead out a bet and take it down. Bet fold on the river as the spades come home. Not atypical to a board texture such as that. So we take a revisit to the chip count. Santiago 81 bigs after that massive 3-way hand double elimination. Keith with 51, Amir with 33. Steven pulling up the rear as the shorty. Again, as we know, PLO, anything can happen. What's that Hamilton song? Shout out to the wife in the chat. We're big Hamilton fans. So Steven has ace-5-4 deuce here. Great high-low hand. However, we are in the game of PLO. Keith looks down at ace-ace king-2 on the button. Definitely going to lead. He raises to 17.5K. Santiago looking down at a mystery hand. With the chip lead, though. Almost 2-1 on Keith. He is going to make the call. Santiago's got Jack 7-7-3, double suited as definitely makes the hand look a little prettier than it is. Flop's going to be Queen 9-3. Keith still leading with a pair of aces. Keith is going to lead, and Keith is going to take the pot. Still 4 players. Average stack's about 225. We've got 2 below and 2 above. Not surprising there. 77, 56, 33, 13 big blinds. So Steven's still working from a deficit, but we'll see if he can find a hand to get lucky here. That 3-way all-in just put Santiago in such a good spot. Such a good spot. As we kill some time here, PLO, definitely my favorite game. Man, Steven looking down at aces once again. They're kind of going around the table. Keith had him last. He is going to have the nut heart draw. Santiago with king, jack of hearts, 6-2 of clubs. Not the worst hand, but he is going to let it go. Amir with king, jack, 10-9. I like to have my gap on the bottom, but still 4-handed. A decently strong hand, double suited, 10 jack of clubs, king 9 of diamonds. Not surprised to see the pot from Steven, obviously 4-handed. We're potting aces most of the time. Flop is 4 of hearts, 9 of spades, 7 of diamonds. Steven's still in the lead with aces, but not by much. He is going to continue for 23K. Amir looks down. I think it's going to be a repot. All in for 147K. Steven is put to a position here. I'm one to say if you don't connect with the board, it's tough to continue with aces. But Steven does. 4-handed. It's going to be real tough to lay those down. Currently, Steven finds himself in the lead. But again, not by a whole lot statistically. The 10 finds Amir with 2 pair. He is going to take it down. Steven is unfortunately going to be eliminated in 4th place with our first payout of $630. Once again, that $200 black chip bounty going out for the elimination as well. We are down to our final 3 players, Keith, Amir, and Santiago. Shout out to Tony Turnus of Iowa City watching in the Facebook chat. Good dart friend of mine. Thanks for joining in. Who knows if you'll be here in 15 minutes when you actually hear this, but that's okay. We got Keith double fisting on the rail there. I love to see it. Chip counts are going to be Santiago after the double elimination with 384,500. Next is going to be Keith with 280 and Amir with 240. So with that elimination, we see stacks kind of even out. At this point, I think ICM actually comes into play. We're looking at 3rd place payout at 855. You're moving up 400 to 1215 with the 2nd place finish. So if you're the deliverer of the knockout, you're actually gaining $600 from going 3-handed to 2-handed. Average stack's going to be 300K. The only one that finds themselves above that right now is Santiago. 64, 47, 39 though, fairly even game. We could see anyone take down this PLO Black Bounty tournament and the coveted money clip. These money clips are beautiful. If you guys are watching tonight and you are in the Houston area and you are a fan of PLO, tomorrow night Our tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m., is the Lone Star PLO Championship. It is going to be a $600 buy-in. It is scheduled as a 2-day event, but once that table reaches the final table, those players will have an option to play that out tomorrow night. That will be up to those who make the final table. Hopefully, I would say since I may play it, I hope we play it out, but as I'll probably be the one commentating it, 2 days is fine with me. Matthew Aguilar in the chat, a regular in the KC home game. He just started attending the Run Good game. Big shout out to you, Matthew A. Thanks for joining us as we are three-handed in the $400 double black chip bounty. As we run through these hands, we'll kind of run over the schedule one more time for those of you tuning into the PLO. Tomorrow is going to be Wednesday at 10 a.m. For those of you bright and early, there will be a mega satellite for the main event. It is going to be a $135 buy-in. 1 and 6 is going to receive a package to the main event. An hour later at 11, there will be a $400 No Limit Hold'em double black chip bounty. I will be in that, as well as the commentators from the No Limit Hold'em final table earlier. Myself, Haley, Alex Optional, ACR Streamer. We will all be in that one if you want to come take our money. At 3 p.m. is that Lone Star PLO Championship for $600 with a $25K guarantee. And then for those of you working in the Houston area at 6 p.m., there will be a $250 turbo tournament, still with a $5,000 guarantee. Again, 3 players left. Blinds are going to be 3K, 6K with a 6K big blind ante. For those not familiar, this year a lot of regular PLO tournament venues have started the big blind ante. That big blind ante will not be calculated into the pot pre-flop, but after the flop, it will be calculated into the pot. Kind of makes tournaments run a little smoother, a little faster. We're not waiting for everyone to ante up, similar to the transition that happened in Hold'em over the course of the last year or two. Thursday brings us with a pretty awesome day. Again, another mega satellite at 10 a.m. If the PLO Championship final table elects to break it into 2 days, we will run day 2 starting at noon. 2 p.m. finds what I think is the most exciting tournament of the entire series, the Lone Star Surprise Bounty. This is a $600 tournament. It has a $30,000 guarantee with $10,000 in added bounties above and beyond that guarantee. It's just going to be an excellent tournament, a time for a lot of us to have some fun, yet still a decent buy-in tournament with a very good prize pool. It's just going to be a blast. Lone Star putting the effort to put that together is just remarkable. At 5 p.m. on Thursday, there's also going to be another mega satellite, 135. 1 and 6 is going to win a seat to the main. And at 6 p.m., a 8 max Big O $400 tournament. For those of you that like that 5 car to Omaha, there will be an $8,000 guarantee as that. As we get back to the action, it looks like Keith has flopped a jack. Keith's just holding the hearts. Santiago is going to leave. Even though Keith has it wrapped up, I don't know if Keith finds a fold here. And he does find a fold here. I meant doesn't know if he finds a call there. So Santiago taking down that pot as well. Friday on our schedule, Friday, January 29th, finds the same mega satellite at 10 a.m. At 11 a.m., we begin the $200,000 Lone Star main event. For a $600 buy-in, we are going to have a $200,000 main event. Those flights are going to be Friday at 11 a.m., at 5 p.m., Saturday at 11 a.m., and at 5 p.m. That day 2 restart will be Sunday at 2. And for those that don't make it through on Sunday at 3, we will also have a monster stat closer, $400 buy-in, $20,000 guarantee. Just blown a freaking way by what Hayden and Kim have done here with the Lone Star Series. Super impressed. They've thrown together a jam-packed schedule. The only complaint I've heard throughout is there's too many good tournaments on the same day. But they have just packed in so much value throughout the week. I'm very impressed. I've just become quickly a huge fan of the Lone Star. I wasn't able to make the premier event at Prime, but looks like Santiago has flopped a queens and threes, queens, fives, and threes. So he's going to be playing queens and fives. Amir simply has a bluff or a runner. I don't think Amir is going to ever find a call here. So Santiago is going to take down the pot and extend his lead. But yeah, I'm just blown away by what Hayden and Kim with the Lone Star Series have put together here. It's just remarkable. It's super impressive. I'm very, very happy with what they've done. It's extremely impressive. Champion Social, if you guys haven't been here, freaking get here. Super impressed. One of the most beautiful venues I've ever visited. They really put the player in mind when they built this. Every time a tournament is dealed down to 40 players, we're moving them into the stream room. There's tons of tables available. The bar is great. The food from the restaurant next door that they own is phenomenal. I've just been super impressed by the floors, the management, the waitresses, the staff. It's just been remarkable from top to bottom. One of the greatest venues I've been to in a long time. So we're going to see Amir here with ace, king, 7 deuce. He is going to have 3 clubs in his hand. Keith's going to have queens, 9-3, double suited. Santiago, jack, 9-7, is the only one holding spades. We do see 2 hearts on the flop. So far, we have a virtual deadlock between Amir and Keith. Santiago living by the life of a prayer. But Amir's 15K lead is going to find Keith calling with the double suited flush draw. The only one with either flush covered as well. The river is the 4 of spades. I hope to see Amir lead here. He does have aces and 7s. I don't think Keith finds a call. There's just... Right now he's playing queens. So yeah, Keith is going to lay that down. Still 3-handed. Third's going to take home 855. Second 1215. First 1800. Again, with each elimination, even within these final 3, the eliminator is going to receive a $200 double black chip bounty. But as we look at blinds, everybody's pretty close. We got 250, 264, 393. Anything can definitely happen. All 3 players definitely experienced in the PLO round. I'm very excited to see how this plays out. This is event number 8, the $400 double black chip PLO bounty.
Whoever can control that, go change it to the new PLO game.
Keith is going to call. Santiago with the option is going to check. King, queen, 8-4. King high diamonds. Keith with the Badoogie, ace high.
7 bet 15, 3 fold.
So Tanya says, guessing bounty structure isn't going to help me much in understanding PLO strategies. Now that we're 3-handed, even at 4-handed maybe, I don't think we're going to see the bounty play much into it, just because now we've reached a point where the payouts actually are more than the bounty. So we will see some PLO strategy. However, 3-handed, we're definitely playing short-handed PLO. You're going to see players open with a much wider range. You're going to see players see quite a few more flops. It's going to be rather interesting. We've seen a lot of solid starting hands so far at this final table. I don't know if that'll continue. Santiago, 3K to call. Deuce 4, 6, 7, 4, 6 of hearts. Again, this is a hand, obviously an auto fold at a full table, but three-handed, not going to have any problem getting the chips in there. No one holds a queen on the queen-queen-9 board, so now it's really who's going to bet. Amir leads, which I love. I love Amir's lead. Oh my gosh. Pat on the back to Amir. Amir leads and takes down the flop there. Super impressed by that lead. Amir obviously very experienced in PLO shorthand. You have to be willing to lead when you have nothing. Because even though there's 12 cards in play in the player's hands, there's still going to be an ample amount of opportunity where no one connects with the board. And every pot is crucial to pick up at this point. I mean, as we look at blinds, you know, being at 3K, 6K, 6K, you're looking at 15K in the pot every round. All three players playing deep. Keith waking up with kings, 3, 6 of hearts. Not a power hand for sure. King, queen, 10, 8, 3 clubs from Santiago. Santiago did raise, as I think he should, coming in with a decent chip lead. I think he should be raising most spots. Flop is queen, jack, deuce. Santiago obviously in the lead here with a decent king, queen, 10, 8 holding. Keith's kings were obviously ahead technically, but Santiago's hand was definitely ahead with 2 cards to come. A hand you don't hate to look down to, so he will take down that hand. Santiago extending his lead to 70 big blinds. Amir with 41. Keith not far behind with 39. Virtually even. Very much enjoying commentating this final table of the $200 or the $400 double black chip bounty PLO tournament here at the Lone Star, as this is my favorite game, a game I have come to love. Started playing pretty seriously maybe a dozen years ago. Keith looks down at king 10 9 9. I would assume he is going to raise, which he does, to 12K. Santiago's going to make the call with 10 7 deuce deuce double suited. His clubs are going to be found covered by Keith. Two clubs on the board. No one connects with the jack. I love Keith's continuation with the king high flush draw. Santiago calls. Unfortunately drawing pretty thin. Oh, flopped flush. Apologies. Both players flopped a flush. Keith king high. Santiago 10 high. Keith does bet. Santiago folds the 10 high flush, which I think is the right play. Rando Murphy, Iowa City. What's up, Rando? So our blinds continue to even out, 63, 46, 41. Santiago still with the chip lead of a little over 100,000 chips. This is just a fantastic final three to watch, as we find three players extremely experienced in the art of pot limit. These are the final tables I enjoy. It's really good to see three players that know the game inside and out. Keith is going to look down at pocket tens with 8-4 of hearts. I wouldn't be surprised if he elects to raise here, as he's been pretty consistent raising three-handed. I like to see the aggression out of Keith. We do find a fold from Santiago and a fold from Amir, simply holding ace-queen with the 6-7 of clubs. Again, I think we're going to see a lot of play here three-handed. It's a joy, an extreme joy to watch. But commentating solo tonight, these are definitely three players I enjoy being the last three. Watching pretty solid play. All three know when to apply the pressure and when not to. Santiago still trying to take a hold of the chip lead. He seems to know when to put him in and when not to. Looks like we have a min click from Santiago with ace king jack 9. He is going to have the nut diamonds. 4 solid high cards. Keith's going to defend with 7-5-4-3. Pretty solid Badoogie right there. Unfortunately, we are not playing Badoogie. Flop a jack 4-2. I think Santiago's going to continue here. Oh, he didn't. So we're going to check through to a 9 of clubs. Santiago elects to bet the turn. At this point, he has top 2. Keith does have an open-ended straight draw. He does have club. No, he does. He has the Badoogie. So we have the open-ended straight draw, and that's about it. And it comes home. Ace on the river is going to be huge for Keith. He was driving extremely slim, and he does make it. That also gives Santiago top 2 here. There's no flush in play. So, wow. Keith leads out a pot-sized bet of 65K. I think if Keith would have restrained from a pot-sized bet, I think he could have got a call from 25, 30, maybe even 35K. I just don't know if Santiago finds a call here with top 2 for a pot-sized bet. Santiago's been very conservative, extremely solid play throughout, not just the final table, but throughout the tournament. So I find it hard to see him calling here. But he does grab chips, and he is cutting them out. And still, there's not a whole lot of hands that beat you. You know, does your opponent really have 3-5? 3-5 makes the only straight. I mean, a set's kind of what you're worried about. Santiago does find the call. Keith does show him the wheel, and Keith's going to scoop in that pot. This is going to even out chip counts quite a bit. No, I was wrong. That pot's a lot bigger than we thought we were. Keith's going to make a dart to the top with 392K. Santiago now with 280. Amir with 232. As far as big blind goes, we're looking at 65, 46, 38. So we're still looking at a very even playing field when it comes to PLO. But Keith is going to take over that top spot from Santiago. The more we talk through that hand, with Keith holding the wheel there, you know, really the only thing that beats you is a wheel or sets. So I actually don't dislike Santiago's call on the river at all. Even though Keith elected to go full pot, it's almost gaining max value if he does get the call. Well, it is gaining max value because there's not a whole lot of hands that don't show aggression prior to the river that beat you other than the wheel. So thinking through it more, I don't know if I find a fold there with top 2. And that just kind of points out Santiago's continued impressive play throughout this tournament. So we have 19 minutes left in round 17. The blinds are 4,000, 8,000, 8,000. Again, that big blind ante of 8,000 will not be calculated into the pot pre-flop. However, post-flop it will be. A new addition that was started by Aria not that long ago and has quickly been picked up by many other vendors to create this structure. Looks like Keith decided to take a quick break. I don't know if he needed a drink or what, but Santiago is going to flat the big. Looks like Amir threw out some raising chips, which he did. Santiago calls. Interesting spot here. Amir with King, King, 10-4, hearts. Santiago, Queen, Queen, 9-6, spades. We do get a rainbow flat with jacks. Heads up, you're not always going to suspect your opponent of holding a jack to make trips. So both players might be confident in their holding here. The turn does bring a club draw, which neither player holds. So Amir is going to bet, Santiago folds. Amir is going to take down a small pot with the best hand. So with 3 players left, again, third 855, second 1215, first 1800. Again, for the first time at this point, that big blind bounty no longer really comes into play when deciding on action, as the pay jumps are gonna jump past that $200 extension. We look down at King Jack 10-6. Amir's gonna have hearts covered. Keith 10-9, 4-4. Keith's gonna have spades, but only 9 high. Keith is gonna flat the raise. Both players paying 18 to see the flop. Pretty much a coin flip at this time. 3-handed, I think we're going to see quite a few of those. Amir's going to check. I expect Keith to lead, which he does. He's going to bet 44, fold pot size bets. He does have top pair here. That's pretty much all he has. And Amir has him out kicked. It'll be interesting to see how Amir reacts with 2 5s on the board. It's still going to be hard to continue here. And Amir does lay it down. $16 left in the 4,000, 8,000, 8,000 blind level. We have some pretty deep play here. I mean, we're at 50, 31, 30. One hand can change that count either way. These are several big bets. So I don't see, unless we just see a crazy cooler, this ending anytime soon. Continuing to be impressed by all 3. Keith, Santiago, and Amir, just all 3 showing some knowledge of PLO for sure. A game I know and love. Amir's going to look down at Jack 10, 8, 4. Badoogie. 8K to call. He is going to lay it down. Keith is going to call. We'll wait for his cards to pop up here. Hopefully Queen 10, 6 deuce, 3 hearts. Santiago has hearts as well. Keith covered. Flop's going to come Queen 7, 8 though. This is going to put Keith in a pretty good lead with queens. Santiago with a gut shot. Santiago may have to lay down here. He does. Keith bet, Santiago folds. Pretty standard there. These 3 players just aren't they aren't varying from standard play very much at all. Extremely impressed by all 3 players. Not surprised. These are the 3 we find 3-handed. Not even crazy to admit I think all 3 of these players are better than myself, even though sometimes I feel I'm better than I am. I'm greatly impressed by all 3. A lot picking same lines I would, but some even outperforming what I feel I would do myself. Keith now 422, Santiago 226, Amir 236. So not crazy. Keith is finding a little separation, but one big hand can change that. He's going to look down at Queen 996. I expect a raise here. Does have hearts. He does raise to 16K. Santiago 10-7-6-3. Wouldn't be surprised with a call, which happens. Amir Jack 8-7-4. Only one with clubs. Calls as well. We're going to go 3 to the flop for the first time in a while. King 6-9. Surprisingly puts Keith in the lead, obviously flopping a set. We do have an open-ender from Amir. We have Santiago with reason to continue, but only if he plans on making a move. Keith is going to lead the set. I wouldn't have even been surprised if he checked back on the button there. But in Omaha, you just never know what's going to change. He doesn't have diamonds covered, so a lead is probably the best path there. He leads 56K. Quick folds from both. Extending Keith's lead now 462, 228, 214. He's got both players 2-1. This is exactly where Keith wants to be. Extremely impressed with Keith's play. Just continue the aggression. I mean, you flop a set, it's easy, but even when you don't, he's made some stabs at pots with air and PLO that kind of separates, you know, those who know from those who don't, if you know.
Got everybody.
7 folds.
So Amir looks down at King 9 7 5, King high spades, 3 spades in the hole, Queen 9 6 6. Hearts covered by Keith.
3 raises.
Looks like Keith's gonna raise. Looked like raising chips to me. He is gonna raise to 28K. I don't see Amir folding here for 20K more. He does call. We're going to see 2 clubs come out. No one has clubs covered, so Ace-Jack 7. Amir in the lead, but not a lot of holding going on there. So I think Keith's continuation bet is going to take it down. Oh, and he bets big. Wow. Pot-size bet from Keith there. No fear. Wow. I'm extremely impressed with Keith's play. Santiago won that big 3-way all-in, but since the big hand between Keith and Santiago, Keith has not been shy from applying pressure. Super impressed. I know I say that a lot, but I love PLO. I love the great game, as Joey Ingram calls it. I love the mix of 4 cards and just seeing someone so attuned to the game to apply pressure even when it might not be warranted, but knowing that 3-handed it may get through. Santiago, ace, king 10, 2 spades. Probably not going to see much action from what we've seen so far, but Keith is going to call with 8, 7, 6 deuce, 2 spades. I would assume Santiago raises here, which he does. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if we see a fold from Keith here. 3-handed, especially heads up, you know, once Amir had folded. We see a 5-2-7 flop. Keith does flop 7s with the 6-8, 7s and deuces with the 6-8. About as good of a flop for Keith as we can get, knowing that the other party doesn't hold hearts. Keith will lead and take the pot down. So 3rd place is guaranteed $855. Not, massive pay jumps, but again, these players have earned ample bounties most throughout. On break, whenever that may be, I will do whatever I can to find out where we're sitting in bounty accumulation. Looks like we do have a break in 20 minutes. I'm assuming we'll make it to that break due to the experience of these 3 players. So at break, I will do what I can to find out where we are in black chip bounty accumulation amongst the 3 players. But that will be up to them being forthcoming as well, as we don't log that throughout the tournament. Amir wakes up to King Queen 8-6. He is rainbow. Santiago Ace 10 8-7. Not a horrible hand. Definitely not a horrible hand 3-handed. He does have diamonds and spades covered. Queen 10-9. It's going to give Santiago 10s the slight advantage with 2 cards to come. Amir with kings. The jack on the flop, or on the turn, is going to Santiago the straight. It's going to leave Amir drawing dead. But not a whole lot to bet at here, just because there are cards that beat both parties. They're both going to flip their cards up. Santiago is going to be declared the winner. There's just so many draws there without Amir holding a straight. He does have 2 king blockers. I wouldn't have even been upset with Amir betting the river there, But there are just so many combination of hands that do have you crushed there. So can't blame him for not betting this. With that, Keith extends his lead, 522, 209, 175. As far as big blinds, 66, 26, 21. Keith is definitely pulling away from a field. I do not believe, at least for now, we will see a chop anytime soon, which surprisingly tends to happen more often with mixed games when not national regs are in the final stages of the field. But I think knowing these three players and having played with two of them, that isn't likely to happen. This is more for glory than for cash at this point, which I can 1,000% respect and get behind. Totally thrilled to enjoy this playoff. San Diego is going to take that down with the Rays. Again, 63, 28, 21. So now Keith has both players 2-1. If Keith continues to apply the pressure as he is, I just don't see that changing. But it is PLO. We could see a point where players get it in. Unlike some final tables, I don't believe we're going to see some two-way random mull-ins here. I think we're going to have some pretty solid holdings, or more likely some pretty solid connections with the flop. Andrew Coy, another Iowan, joining us in the Facebook viewership. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate all you guys hanging out tonight. Super, super stoked to be here in Houston, Texas with the Lone Star Series at Champions Social. The first time for me here at Champions Social, but so glad I came. Literally so far my favorite venue nationwide, no questions asked. Before this, I think it was maybe MGM National Harbor, maybe Maryland Live. I have played some Texas poker, so I've been in some card houses down here, but just nothing compares to what they've done here at Champions. They put so much money into just creating an atmosphere that's so incredibly solid for the players. So we find ourselves in a virtual three-way tie here. Obviously, this is just going to come down to folds most likely, and it does. Surprise, surprise. So 3 players left. We might be here all night because these are 3 solid players. I'm just impressed. Like, all 3 are showing why they are the final 3, and that couldn't make me happier. I love nothing more than seeing solid PLO play, and it's, it's funny how it's not fast, pot. That's not what wins these tournaments at the end. But it's what you see at the beginning so much. My wife saying, I know I'm way behind, but dang, that ace on the river for the wheel. Oh, it looks like she got Taco Bell from DoorDash. But yeah, absolutely. My wife is not a PLO connoisseur. She's just getting into the Hold'em game. So it's cool to see her kind of see how a PLO hand can go from the nuts to nothing very quickly. So thanks for that message, Tanya. Amir holding kings with ace-10 of diamonds. Both kings are black, so neither suit covered. Just the diamonds. But Keith with aces 10-5. We may see a pot and a repot. We do. Amir 195 all in. This is the cooler we were waiting for. Keith is going to make the call. We are going to have ace 10-5, clubs and hearts against ace king 10, only diamonds. The flop is going to be rainbow, which isn't good for Amir. It looks like Keith is going to hold on. The 9 of diamonds and the 8 of diamonds, turn and river, is going to find Amir eliminated. And that's what it takes, unfortunately. These 3 players have played so solid that it was going to take a cooler hand. They've maintained very close stacks. It was going to take a hand just as that to get the chips in the middle. Unfortunate for Amir. He played an outstanding tournament and even more so an outstanding final table. Unfortunate for Santiago, that just extends Keith's lead. Keith now has 692,000 to Santiago's 192,000. The likelihood of a deal here is probably 0. We're probably going to see this one play out, especially as solid as Keith has been throughout this entire final table. But yeah, unfortunately for Amir, it did take a pretty solid cooler to eliminate him, because we've just seen them trade chips back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, all three playing so well that was about what it was going to take. Looks like Keith was the beneficiary of that. Keith and Santiago now heads up. Keith is going to have Santiago at more than 3-1. Keith has not shown even a slight misclick here. So I wouldn't be surprised if Keith finishes it out. He's been very careful with when he puts chips in the pot. I wouldn't even be surprised if this does not end quickly, because Keith has been very conservative in how he attacks the chips and accumulates them. So this may be, even though it's a 3-1, unlike Hold'em, unlike some PLO final tables, depending on who you get, I think this may be a delayed play out depending on the flops and boards we see. Santiago, ace 10, 6, 7, a pair of 7s leads. I love the lead from Santiago. Now we're heads up. We're going to see ranges open up. We're going to see leads with lighter holdings. Keith does hold 3, 5, 6, 8. I just don't think there's a call here. But he does continue with the pair of 8s. He does have the open ender. They just block so many hands. Keith does hit a 3 on the river for 2 pair. I don't think you can feel confident in those two pair. And of course, Santiago leads for a good size bet, and Keith does find the fold, even though holding the winner. Heads up, you're going to see a lot of winners folded in PLO, especially with uncoordinated boards. Keith now 668, Santiago 236. That puts the big blinds at almost 3-1 in Keith's favor. If you're new to PLO, like my wife who's in the chat, you are going to see that, you will see a lot of bets as in Hold'em heads up, with where you may not connect with the board at all, but you may lead, half pot, even a third pot, and find a fold pretty often. When we see two players such as Keith and Santiago, who are obviously extremely experienced in the game of PLO, I think we may see that even more, because the weaker holding is unlikely to defend. Here we have Santiago with queen, 7-5. It's going to depend on what Keith wakes up with. Keith did raise whatever his holding is, and Santiago did call. Queen, 7-5, 2 clubs. We don't have Keith's hand. Okay, now we do. Jack, 3-4 rainbow. Flop a queen, 8-4 is going to put Santiago in a commanding leg. Anything Keith puts in this pot is probably going Santiago's way. Keith does leave 45K. He does have a gut shot to the bottom straight. Even if he hit his gut shot, he'd have to hit a blank on the river, which is equally as hard. That's what puts Santiago over a 99% favorite in this hand, and he's going to go on for 207, which is going to kill the hand. Keith rightfully folds. Not a whole lot to continue with there. So we are still heads up. Second place, 1215. First place is going to be 1800. Now we aren't just playing for that $200 bounty. We are also playing for $585 difference between first and second. Still, as I promised you, if we make it to break, I will try to get a count on both Keith and Santiago's knockouts to this point. Again, that will be solely reliant on the information they provide us, as that is not tracked throughout the tournament. Keith wakes up to ace, 8 deuce, 3 clubs, so one of those aces. He's going to have a little leverage with it. Definitely going to find a raise to 30K. And Santiago is going to simply fold. So Keith's going to bring down that small pot. Keith is going to be up about 2-1 after that small pot that Santiago won previously to that. We are going to find ourselves at break in 16 minutes. Blind still at 5K, 10K, 10K. Being that that big blind ante is not figured into the pot pre-flop, the pot size bet pre-flop will be 30K. Of course, post-flop, that pot size bet becomes bigger as that big blind ante is factored in after the flop. Keith's going to look down at ace 10 5 3, a badoogie, so rainbow. Santiago raised, Keith checked, ace jack 7. We do not see Santiago's hand here. So we're going to play this one blind. Keith does have a pair of aces.
7 bets, 50,000.
Keith also only holds one spade. Unfortunately, it's the 3. I'm assuming we're just going to see a fold here with a pot size bet of 50K, and we do.
We'll skip that
Man, that's the only one I wanted to know.
Hey, Santiago's card. A little more rough.
Okay, they didn't show up on that one.
So 15 minutes left on this level before we go to break. 573, 331. We're now below a 2-1 advantage for Keith. Keith looking down at queen 10 4 2, 2 diamonds. Santiago ace 10, ace jack 10 5. Keith does simply flat there, which has actually been out of line for Keith. This should send signals to Santiago. Oh, wow. I honestly saw Santiago continuing with anything there. But he does elect to check. Keith leads with the bottom deuce, and Santiago folds. That's just Keith taking advantage of aggression there. I think if Santiago leads that flop, if he c-bets that flop after the rare flat from Keith pre-flop, that Santiago takes that down. So the check honestly surprised me. Keith's just been so aggressive raising most pre-flop hands with anything, concluded. So I was surprised to see Santiago not lead that flop. I'm honestly probably leading every flop there once I see the flat, and if he raises, I fold. But so many times in that situation, I believe you're taking down the pot heads up. But Santiago did elect to check. Keith continued the aggression he's been on, and Santiago did fold. So Keith looks down at king jack 5-4, double suited.
Raise. 30,000.
30?
Correct. My call.
We have a call from Santiago with king 10 9-5. Clubs. 5-5-7 on the flop's going to put this about even. Both players right now playing 3-5s with a king 7. I wouldn't even be surprised if we see this all in. If the turn and river don't change anything, we'll have a split pot. But it very well could. Keith holding a simply higher holding with the jack in his hand. Santiago does raise all in with 2-8-2. Keith has 2-12 more to call. We could see a fold from Keith. I just think heads up it's too strong. Keith does make the call. We're all in. Unless a turn or a river changes things, we're going to have a split pot. And it does. Jack 5. Keith takes down the tournament with the jack of spades on the river. Unbelievable. It was very, very likely these two players were going to draw to a chop. And just a bad draw for Santiago there on the turn. Keith is going to become victorious We aren't going to make it to the next draw, or to the next break. Santiago taking down 1215. Keith taking down 1800. Plus all the bounties they accumulated throughout the tournament. It has been a freaking joy bringing you guys commentary for the final table of this PLO event, which unfortunately I did not make. Congratulations to Keith. Again, tomorrow, I'm looking at the wrong sheet. Here we go. Tomorrow for those Houston area peeps, Mega Satellite at 10, 135, 1 and 6 going to make the 600. 11 a.m. a $400 double black chip bounty. 3 p.m. the $600 Lone Star PLO Championship, which does award a belt clip. I'm not from Texas. I don't know what they call them. And at 6 p.m. No Limit Hold'em 250 Turbo. It's going to be a 5K guarantee. All those with pretty awesome guarantees. We hope to see you out tomorrow, and if we don't, we definitely want to see you out for the main event this weekend from Lone Star Poker Series, brought to you here at Champion Social. It has just been an incredible series already, as this was event number 8. We have so many more coming to you here from Champions. Great staff, great management, great club. For those of you that are local, you have so much to be thankful for. I'm so jealous of those of you that are local. This has been a great PLO final table. Keith just kind of commanded the second half of this table, rightfully so, overtaking Santiago and never looking back. So cheers to Keith. Thank you guys so much for viewing in. Please go like, subscribe, follow the feature table, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Eric Anderson does such a great job of putting this together, and we can't thank him enough. You guys are amazing, and we look forward to talk to you all tomorrow. Congratulations to Keith on winning event number 8, the $400 double black chip bounty.
Hey, Darren, you want to glance in that commentator group, see if Tom is still talking?